Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. This is your weekly reading. So this is where we talk about what to expect out of the energy here this week and how we can make the most of it. So I'm curious to hear how everybody's doing in this energy. It was really interesting to me that I usually start to get messages for these readings, like 2 days, 1 day, not terribly far out compared to when I make this video. I started to get messages about this week last week. I started to get them actually on Wednesday, so the day after I did my weekly reading last week. So that really stood out to me. I've never gotten the messages that early. And it said to me a few things. Number one, how important this time is right now, how big the energy is, how much we have going on, but also just how important it is that we're aware of what's going on. Because I think that when we're aware of what's going on in the energy, we can take a look at that and we can decide what we want to do with that. We can decide how to make the most of what we have going on. But I also think that it allows us to see beyond the illusion of what the energy has happening for us. I think that it's so helpful to think about this idea that it's all just an illusion, right? And that it's all an opportunity for us to work through certain things that we need to work through, to learn certain lessons. And so when we treat it like it is all an illusion and we start to recognize, okay, what's happening in the illusion of the energy here this week? How is that going to impact me? Then we can be strategic in terms of how we want to approach the week. So I think that these messages here this week are extra important in terms of just being strategic for the week moving forward. I want to acknowledge, first of all, just what we have coming in the astrology. Because are you guys feeling it? How's everybody doing? Let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you in comments. But are you guys feeling it? We're still in this Venus retrograde, so we're still working through relationship issues that want to come up, that want to float to the surface that we need to address. We're still reflecting on issues in regard to money or how we're approaching finances, that kind of stuff, right? So we're looking at patterns and where we need to unhook ourselves from things with that. Maybe we're looking at how we use pleasure in our lives, right? Whether that's as an escape, right? Are we focusing too much on that, or where are we using things to distract ourselves? Where do we need more pleasure in our lives? There's definitely a lot of that going on in the energy right now. But we also now, we're in Venus retrograde now. Tomorrow, I'm filming this on the 22nd. Tomorrow on the 23rd, we go into Virgo season. So we shift out of Leo season into Virgo season, but we also go into Mercury retrograde. So those of you who know Mercury retrograde, you're probably groaning right now, right? Because that it's a tough energy. I personally think that Venus retrograde is way more challenging than Mercury retrograde will ever be, but we have both of them happening at the same time because Venus will still be in retrograde until September 3rd, I believe. So we have both of them happening at the same time. And I think that tomorrow especially is going to feel like a challenging day. I think that just the energy will feel challenging. And hopefully I'm wrong, right? Hopefully it's not that way and we can just go about our day. But just kind of sit with it, be with it, let it be what it is, right? So if you feel a little bit off, just be a little bit easier with yourself. Be a little bit easier with your day. Don't put extra pressure on yourself. Don't expect for things to go exactly according to plan. Mercury retrograde has this way of making things not go according to plan, right? So can we be flexible? Can we be flowy? Can we just kind of let it unfold? This energy is slowing us down, right? I've been talking about that. It's getting progressively slower. We're moving into, by the time we're in early September, we will have 7 planets in retrograde. That means slow down and reflect. Slow down and pay attention. slow down and listen to the things that your soul is trying to tell you. So you might feel that, but when this slowdown happens, we might also notice that there's not a lot of action happening. There's not a lot of progression happening with things, or it might feel like we're trying to move through mud as we're trying to make things happen. So don't force anything during this time period, okay? Just kind of let it naturally unfold. Take action if you feel called to take action, if you feel like you need to take an action on something, because certainly you'll get these bursts of inspiration for that, but also just be patient and be open to the fact that it might not happen in the way that you're expecting it to happen or in the timing that you're expecting it to happen. And I know that's really, really frustrating, but that's the energy that we're in. And so as we move into Mercury retrograde, the other things that will come up, expect there to be issues with communication, right? Especially with Venus in retrograde too. It's like a relationship shit show a little bit energetically, right? But we have to remember that these energies happen for us in order to help us to see the things that we need to see, whether that's an awareness of what isn't working for us in our lives or what it is that we need to be changing, shifting, moving, whatever. It provides us with an opportunity to look at that. It also provides us with an opportunity to heal the things that we need to heal. So understanding that communication isn't going to be probably at its best. There's a lot of miscommunication that can happen during Mercury retrograde. And so we just want to be a little bit more mindful about the way that we're saying things, the way that we're communicating things, and also maybe giving other people a little bit of grace in their communication as well, right? We want to try to not be too reactive, although I think that this energy is really intense. So I think that you're going to find yourself being reactive. So this self-awareness right now and this consciousness of how we're behaving, how we're responding, how we're moving here in our day-to-day life is going to be really, really helpful. It's going to save us from creating issues for ourselves. Mercury is, it's tricky, right? So it can create delays and things like that as well. So kind of just, I find that if I just expect delays, it all works out, right? If I think that, okay, I can get this, and done, this, and this done in my morning, during Mercury retrograde, I kind of will like give myself an extra 20 minutes, even though like I should be able to accomplish something within that period of time, because there just tends to be delays or issues or things that come up with technology, all kinds of stuff. So know that, but this is important. And one thing that I really want to acknowledge is we've been learning a lot of lessons right now, right? We're going through a lot of lessons. We're learning a lot of lessons, but I'm seeing people learn them. And I think that that's really cool. I think as a collective, we are learning them. We are progressing. There's so much progress that's happening right now. And if the energy isn't what it is, I don't think that we would be making the same kind of progress. And so it's moving us through this. And I think that also this week we're going to find ourselves, I'm really feeling like insecurities are going to be really stirred up this week. And so I called this video, Your Insecurities Are Not Your Truth. Write that down. Write that down. Look at it every day. Especially this week, because there are going to be times when things are really your insecurities that feel incredibly true. And that's going to be kicked up. And I think that this energy really is going to support us going down a really gross, nasty, negative, dark rabbit hole with some of these insecurities that we can avoid going down if we can simply look at that and say, that is an insecurity, that is not a truth. That is not my truth, that is not how I choose to identify. That is just something I'm feeling insecure about here today in this moment, right? It's giving us an opportunity to recognize our insecurities and to work through them. So acknowledging the way that that's being stirred up, and this is a blessing, this is a gift, because it gives us a chance to see, wow, like I didn't even realize I felt insecure about that anymore. I think that we're going to have a lot of that this week, where we recognize insecurities that we thought that we had dealt with, but now we're dealing with a new layer of them. So rather than let it shut us down or send us into a downward spiral, just recognizing the insecurity for what it is and recognizing the lack of truth that's actually connected to that. So you're going to have to talk back to your bullshit a lot this week. Talk back to your thoughts a lot this week to not let yourself get caught up in this. Tomorrow is going to feel like an uncomfortable transition, and it's like a big sharp turn in the energy. So we've already been working on some things. I feel like a lot of things came to a climax last week. I think that a lot of things came into our awareness that we needed to understand. There was like this big buildup into some things. And now we shift into this Virgo season where it's like we're going within and we're doing some shadow work, and I always love Virgo season because to me it's like get your shit together energy, right? It's like, okay, I've been avoiding this, I've been ignoring this, and now I've got to take a look at that. And there's a gift in that, there's a blessing in that. But it's also about like taking care of things that need to get done that maybe when we've been caught up in the fun of summer, we haven't been taken care of. So I think as we get further into Virgo season, we're going to be doing more and more of that. But I'm already feeling that it can be very grounding. It can be very helpful because it's like, it's time to get practical with things. And the Leo energy isn't always the most practical, right? And so I think that there's this energy that we can lean into that's very practical that will pull us out of this want to get really dramatic about the energy right now. That's available to us, right? We can still get really caught up in the drama. It can be very emotional. It can be very overwhelming right now here in this energy. But we also have an energy that's available to us that allows us to be practical, to sit down and say to ourselves, is this really what I want to believe about myself? Is this what I really want to believe about my life? Is this something that I want to allow to impact me in a negative way? Is this something that I want to allow to impact the progress that I'm making? So I think that that's going to be really important for us to take a look at. And one of those things, by the way, that's going to be impacting our progress is this desire to numb, this desire specifically, I feel like through overindulgence, right? Be mindful about the ways that you're wanting to overindulge this week in whatever ways you're feeling called, you're wanting to overindulge, because definitely there are opportunities for that. I think that can pull us off our tracks. It can really influence the progress that we've been making, and I think that we can save ourselves a lot of trouble if we don't get too wrapped up in that, right? Step by step, very practical. Step by step, what do I need to do today? I think like if we can have that approach, one foot in front of the other this week. What do I need to do right now? What do I need to do today? What do I need to take care of? It's just being very practical as we move about this energy. When I connected with these messages, one of the things that I heard was, there's no easy button here, right? There's nothing I can tell you this week that's going to make it easy, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a great week, because I think that if we use this, we can develop, we can grow, we can shift. I think that we've been, as I've said, been learning a lot of lessons. I think that there are, I'm going to call them opportunities, but opportunities to repeat lessons that we've already accomplished if we allow that. But the other opportunity that we have is to recognize that and go, nope, that's a lesson I've already learned. I'm not interested in repeating it. So we have options here. We have options available to us. And this is a great time for us pulling my connection. Okay. It was saying trying to reconnect. So hopefully I'm still live. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Let me know in comments. So it's a great time for us to pull from that toolbox of coping strategies that we have been developing. We are like badasses at this point. We have navigated so much tricky energy. So it's time to come back to the basics, right? What is it? Okay, Meg says still there. Perfect. What is it that we need right now? What do we need? What do we need? What has helped me in the past to balance myself? And again, this energy is calling for us to be really practical, right? So it's never gonna be, I need to eat an entire cake to make myself feel better, right? That's not a positive coping strategy. It might feel good in the moment, but what we want to look at is what are the things that maybe aren't necessarily the flashy, fancy, feel good in the moment, indulgent things, but instead, what are the practical things that I know that if I do them consistently every day, they help me, they support me. It might not be those things that you feel like doing this week, right? For me, every single day this summer, I've been walking. I've just needed this grounding, walking. And for me, it's so balancing. And that's been one of those things that I know that I need to do. Have I always wanted to do it? No, right? But it's like this call, like that practical part of me that knows like this balances you. This grounds you, this supports you, this balances you, this clears your energy. Just do it, right? So it's a little bit of this or a lot of this just do it energy. Like what works for you and can you just do it? Can you just implement that into your life? If you're somebody who likes to journal, get to journaling and do it consistently. If you're somebody who knows that when I eat a certain way, I feel really balanced and good, do it, right? Even if you want to eat the whole cake, right? Instead, what works for you for the long term? What works for you truly to help you feel good? I think that that's going to be extra key here in this energy. I also, one of the words that I got when I was tuning into like specifically the Mercury retrograde energy was redo. Okay. Retrogrades always are connected with so reflection, reconsider, all of the words that start with basically. But I got specifically redo. So I also think that there's going to be opportunities to redo, to make something better. Maybe you had an opportunity and now you have an opportunity to make that better in some way. Maybe there was an opportunity in the past that didn't quite go the way you wanted it to, and now there's an opportunity to do it better this time around. Take advantage of this energy. Take advantage of it. Maybe you said something that didn't go over so well, and now you have an opportunity to communicate it in a better way. Maybe you got started on something and you let yourself get caught up in, where your ego wanted to take you. Maybe you overindulge in other areas, or you got easily distracted or whatever, and you never quite did that thing. This is a chance to redo something or some things that you're being called to. I think that we can expect too, some tower moments. There's some uncomfortable transitions. I mentioned that, but uncomfortable transitions. We're making a lot of progress, so we're making a lot of changes. And with change comes uncomfortable transition. There's a grieving, there's an adjustment, there's a lot of shifting and changing. And so again, there's no easy button here. We just have to do the things that we know eventually are going to help pull us out on the other side. And if you're not sure where to start, connect with somebody who can help you, schedule a soul therapy session with me, talk with your therapist, you connect with that friend that always gives you that advice that just helps to support you on your best path. So do all of those things, one of those things, whatever it is that you feel called to do, and see where that takes you. I'm sorry guys, I'm in a flow, so I'm not necessarily paying attention to the comments. So hello to everyone who's here. I saw Chelsea said she's catching me live finally. So nice to see you on here, Chelsea. It's been a while since I've seen you. Hope you're doing well. Let me know how you guys are doing while I'm shuffling the cards. We'll see what the cards have to say in addition to the messages. How are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling? Do you feel like you've nailed this Venus retrograde? Have you learned some lessons? Okay. That's jumping out. Just as I expected. I love it. It's so much fun to see the way that the cards are just well, the reason I like to use the cards is they're a visual tool, right? To kind of double down on some of the messages. And it's great. Missy's saying Me too, finally making some progress. Good. Lots of shifting happening. Oh, this is great. There are gifts here, guys. There are so many blessings. We keep getting that. I didn't get it yet so far, but we keep getting that Four of Cups in reverse, right? So that's a redo energy, but it's also the energy of like looking for the gift in the challenge. What is the gift? Recognizing, if you look for the light, you'll always find it. So just making sure that we're looking for that in this week. Let's see, okay. Yeah, there's gifts here. We start out in the toughest energy, Three of Swords. Maybe we're healing through some things, right? Healing through heartbreak, healing through challenge. But the Three of Swords is a challenging energy, but to me, it's also a healing energy, right? It's this process of healing and moving beyond the hardship. There's a leap of faith that comes with the Three of Swords. There's a willingness to say, I don't know where I'm going, but I know that I need to lean into my future. I know that I need to lean into my healing. I know that I need to trust that things can get better for me. And I know that I need to allow myself to be vulnerable, even if that feels really scary. So I think that we're doing a lot of that. I think that we're revisiting maybe heartbreak from the past, challenges from the past. That is this energy, right? But trust and believe that if it is coming up for you, it is meant for you to deal with in some way. There's a lesson there. There's a growth there. There is a clarity there with that. By the way, I think that this energy is going to feel kind of cloudy, but kind of confusing, right? But there's also a clarity that is going to be floating through to the surface if we take the time to listen. Four of Swords, take the time to listen to your soul. Take the time to slow down. This isn't the energy that we want to push our way through, that we want to barrel our way through. It's slowing down now. And we need to do that too. I think we're going to feel the shift, right? To me, the transition out of Leo energy into Virgo energy is a sharp turn. It's a very distinct shift in the energy. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, it's time to slow down, especially with these retrogrades. So where do you need to slow down? Where do you need to get some extra sleep? Where do you need to take better care of yourself? Where do you need to meditate more? Where do you need to listen to yourself more? Something here about just like taking that time to go within. Justice, the Justice card. So finding balance in our lives. I'm also hearing like giving ourselves justice. So what I mean by that is like not going out and seeking justice in some way in terms of like revenge or something like that, but choosing peace, right? Choosing to unhook ourselves from circumstances, situations where we felt like things weren't fair, right? How often are we saying to ourselves like, that wasn't fair and that really bothers me? But for as long as we allow it to bother us, we continue to allow it in our lives. We allow it to take up space in our heads, in our lives. And this is saying, choose peace. I also think that there will be opportunities for justice to be served in some way, shape, or form. The retrogrades have a way of providing us with the healing that we need, whether it's providing us with the information that we need to see things from a different perspective, to heal, to let go, to release, or maybe it's in the form of an apology where somebody says, you know what, I messed up and I'm sorry. And so sometimes that's the healing that we need, but definitely a lot of healing this week, a lot of things coming into balance this week, but this is also asking us, calling for us to take a look at what we need to bring more balance into our lives. Again, it's that practical energy that we need. So there's all of that, but then there's also action, right? So I'm saying this is a lot of reflection. This is a lot of going within, a lot of slowed down energy. But here we have the Ace of Wands, which for me is the ultimate in go for it energy. I see Karen saying she might be moving back. Karen, if there was ever a go for it card, this is it, right? If you're feeling like you need to go for something, especially in this energy when it's confusing and it's cloudy, but like there's still that knowing, like this is the right shift for me, this says go for it, right? So there's going to be those moments where it's like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to do this. I feel like I need to make this change, lean into this thing, try this thing, start this thing. The Ace of Wands is like a new and fresh energy, right? So where do we need renewal in our lives? Where do we need excitement, right? Where have we been kind of like dull and drab, and it would be nice to bring a little bit more excitement in. With this Ace of Wands though, in this energy, we want to make sure that we're not bringing in too much excitement, right? Again, it's like, we don't want it to shift into overindulgence, right? Even if that's overindulgence of the ego, right? The ego is like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And all of a sudden it's like we're dealing with a tantruming child. We don't want that. But when your soul truly calls for something, when your intuition is saying, hey, it's time to go for this, you go for it. They say don't make moves, don't make changes, big decisions, big changes during retrogrades, especially Mercury retrograde. But you know what? Sometimes we just feel that call, and sometimes things have been in the works for a long time. So you might be making changes. You might be walking away from things, letting those shifts, but whatever it is that you're feeling drawn to, but specifically, like, what are you excited about? What lights you up? Following the path of that is never going to lead you in the wrong direction, because we need to head in the direction of the sun. What lights you up? What makes you happy? I think that there's going to be a lot of things coming to the surface that are made clear this week about that, right? And what truly makes you happy. Again, not this bullshit that makes you happy for 10 minutes and then you're like, why did I do that? That wasn't a good idea. That didn't make me feel good. That didn't work. That didn't really serve me. What really truly serves you for the big picture? That's the important thing. And that's the direction that we need to head, right? What truly lights you up? What people feel good to you to spend time with, right? Not these people that make you feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster. That can feel really exciting when the high is high, right? When we're in the exciting part of that, but the lows are not worth it. So let's be practical here with that, right? Like, what truly contributes to our happiness every single day, rather than those little glimpses of a rush rather than true happiness. Okay, so really reflecting on that this week. And the last card that we have here is the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles calls for us to plant a seed, to get started. So there's a lot of new, fresh energy here for a retrograde, but this isn't any old retrograde. This is like, we've been making a lot of progress, and I think we are ready to like get started, right? But this is just the baseline. This is just the seed. This is just something small, where it's like small but big. Like just the beginnings of that. Maybe it's like just the beginning of starting to listen to yourself and what it is that you really want. Maybe that's the seed that you're planting, right? Like, it's been really scary for me to like look at this and to explore this, but what if I do that? What if I just start to take a look at this thing that I've been too scared to take a look at before? And what if that opens really incredible doors for you? Where do we need to plant seeds right now? Where do we need to maybe start just baby steps in the direction of something? So Karen's talking about moving. So Karen, thinking about what are some of the steps that you might start to make so that you're prepared to make that decision or not, right? What are some of the moves that you might need to make in order to get that ready so that you can make that decision? So planting seeds. I hope that makes sense. So I have talked for a long time today. So thank you guys who are still here. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been rock stars with watching these videos. I've noticed the views are longer and longer. People are staying tuned longer. So if you have stayed here to the end, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate you all of your support. If you guys are watching this on my YouTube and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It helps to support the channel. Please like the video, comment, share it, however you feel called. But every time you do that, it supports these, and it supports these messages getting to the people that they need to get to, because I'm just really feeling this expansion and this need for expansion, this call for expansion. And I recognize I can't do that without you guys. So I appreciate it so much. I appreciate all of you so much. I'm so proud of you guys. I just see the progress that you're making, and it's so incredible. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that in some way, whether it's just you take a message from a video and you make a move based on that, or the work that I'm doing in soul therapy with people. It's just like, all of it is such a blessing, and I appreciate you guys all so much. So I've been really deep in my gratitude this week for all of you and all of this beautiful stuff that I get to do. So thank you so much, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.